Good Wednesday morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to this beautiful day. Genesis 25, familiar chapter again, talking about, Abraham at this time passed, and he lived in verse 7, 175 years. And it says, 103 score and 15 years, 175. And Sarah was 127 years old. So what's the difference? Almost 40 years, 38, something like that. Yeah, so the point is he had a long, full life. And as a matter of fact, it says in verse 1, he took another wife after Sarah. Even though he was like, ooh, Sarah is the bomb, she's fine, she's all that. So that lets us know that people, keep it moving even when we're gone. So we're not all that, let's glorify the Lord and be humble, but they go to the next. And her name was Keturah, and she bore him so many children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe, 5 more children, and expanded and what have you. So this chapter, what I got from it is love. She bore him, she took on a wife, but didn't say that he loved her. You know how they say, ooh, because later on, his grandchildren, right, his son Isaac married Rebecca, right, and he loved her. It said that in the previous chapter. And then it talks about respect of persons. I have to ask you this today. Do you treat certain people one way, because those are your favorites? Because in verse 28, it said Isaac loved Esau, his son, because he ate venison, meat. But Rebecca loved Jacob because he liked to hang out around the house, the tents. So that's something. What do you have to say about that? Favorites. Do you have teachers that have favorite students or, respect the person? You never had that? Or as a teacher, I have heard people be like, oh my goodness, here comes such and such. Because, they're just, not really in with a certain person. But God wants us to love thy neighbor as thyself, right? To love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to spread that among each other. So that's something to think about. Let's make sure that our love is not specific for only one group. And we know in certain companies or churches, you have, certain pockets or cliques, because people feel left out, they feel rejected. And why do you think a lot of people, now I understand that a lot of people, have issues within them, but you have to wonder, there was another mass shooting in Colorado. Did you hear about that? No. Yeah, it was yesterday, a few miles from Columbine. You had to wonder, why does what takes that shooter to the point where they, feel enraged? It's because of rejection. Somewhere along the line, they didn't feel love, either from a teacher, from a parent, from someone. They felt left out. We got to be careful who we are affecting. What do you have to say about that, Timothy? As far as, do you know anyone in your school who feels left out, or you could tell, is not popular, and they might start acting weird because they're not part of the group?
I don't know. People don't get mad because they're not popular. It is what it is. You're not popular. You're not, and that don't mean you rejected just because you're not popular.
No, or maybe not have any friends or whatever. No. Oh, well, usually you'll see later on in life that there's always a connection. If you research why people are mass murders, or why people do weird crimes of passion, it's because there's some type of element of a lack of love somewhere in the lineage. So today, let's make sure that we spread our love, that we are not being stingy, but gracious, because God is gracious with his love. Have a wonderful day basking.